especially severe sentences, were handed down to church leaders. Many other priests, monks, and nuns were jailed or forced into labor on farms or in factories. Charges leveled against those who were brought to trial were usually treason, espionage, and subversive contacts with the Vatican. The government closed convents and monasteries and strictly limited admissions to the two remaining seminaries. During the Stalinistic trials of the 1950s, more than 6,000 religious people, some old and sick, received prison sentences averaging more than 5 years apiece. Between 1948 and 1968, the number of priests declined by half, and half the remaining clergy were over 60 years of age. During this time of heavy censorship, all religious freedoms were done away with, and those who continued practicing their religion risked persecution.
Where religious censorship took away most religious freedoms in Czechoslovakia, censorship of music took away Czechoslovakia's freedom to speak through songs. A dissident person who actively challenges an established doctrine, policy, or institution. Therefore, dissident music is a style of music that involves deep lyrics that denounce those same things. In Czechoslovakia, dissident music denounced communism. Through extensive research, I found that dissident music is what gave Czechoslovakians their voice back during the times of communism. In order to have a deep understanding of dissident music in Czechoslovakia, one must look at the times before, during, and after communism. Starting with before, there were two main influences on dissident music. First is Bedřich Smetana, pictured on the right. He was among the first to provide a national identity, a sense of national identity which gave pride to a nation and said exactly what the people were saying. National identity was a precursor to dissident music. Without it, the country couldn't band together to fight communism. Prague jazz was also an influence on dissident music by providing a means of self-expression. Jazz was one of the early forms of band music in Czechoslovakia. Because of this, many composers took on a dissident role in their writing and performing, thus kicking off dissident music in Czechoslovakia. After the age of Smetana and Prague jazz, communism arose. As the government took away almost every aspect of people's freedom, the music was heavily affected. It became more serious and poetic, and bands began denouncing the government. Therefore, folk music became dissident music. Communist leaders were not accepting of their form of government being denounced, and they began to ban it. One of the bands was the Plastic People of the Universe, seen here. The Czech reader defines them as the main representative of the Czech underground. They were very outspoken against the government during this time. They were again heavily influenced by Frank Zappa and the Velvet Underground, who provoked with their nonconformist attitude and vulgarity. Their anti-government lyrics and concerts led them to be banned by communist leaders, and eventually they were arrested. The citizens were quite displeased. Educated citizens drafted Charter 77, a petition reminding the communist leaders of basic human rights that were being ignored. Charter 77 was one of the final hits to the communist government before its collapse. What the Plastic People of the Universe and Charter 77 did was show us that by having a dissident voice, you can fight for what you believe in. After communism's demise, bands can now speak freely about their hate for communism. What this led to was many changes in music. One large change was the impact on Romani wedding music. Romas are commonly known as gypsies in today's society. They went from having very traditional music played to having untraditional music present. And here I have two examples of the styles of music played before and during communism, and also after communism. First is a clip from YouTube depicting the styles before and during. Here, you can tell the music is acoustic and slow, fitting the traditional model of music at weddings. Different. The music is much more upbeat and fast, with an electric guitar and other amplified instruments present. An article I read by Margaret Basinger suggests that these changes in gypsy wedding music were brought on by the newfound everyone seemed to be ready for a change. Through my research and our research as a group, I found that censorship is exactly what created dissident music in Czechoslovakia. It gave people a reason to speak up, and dissident music became that outlet of self-expression. Though dissident music didn't solve the problem by itself, what it did do, and always will do, is help people deal with the problem at hand.
Just as religion and music were impacted by censorship, so was Czechoslovakian literature. Authors were required to write communist propaganda for the party, and if they strayed from the communist belief system, they faced persecution or lifelong bans on writing. However, some Czech authors used literary style, magical realism, to evade censorship and criticize the from the time. After Czechoslovakia's fall to communism in 1948, the government immediately enforced censorship of literature through state-controlled publishing houses and issued lists of legally prohibited literature to all of the public libraries. In 1953, the main board of publishing control was created to oversee all aspects of the publishing process and to have literature published. An author had to be in the New Writers' Unions. Of course, to be a member of the New Writers' Unions, one had to be labeled as a loyal communist. However, in 1967, censorship was ended in a series of communist reforms, but after the Prague Spring, or the Soviet invasion of Czechoslovakia, censorship was once again enforced. The period after the Prague Spring was referred to as normalization, and a return to communist propaganda writing was a part of this process. This end to literary freedom was a step backwards to limitations and censorship, and this frustrated many Czech authors, who in turn immigrated or looked for ways around this censorship. Authors who did not leave the country resorted to methods like samizdat or underground illegal publishing. Publishing behind the Communist Party was illegal, and special precautions had to be taken. Samizdat publications could only be printed in a limited number of copies, and the statement "copying strictly forbidden" with the author's signature had to be on the front cover. Prominent literary figures like Václav Havel, who would be the first president of the newly formed Czech Republic, wrote samizdat publications such as his letters to Olga, which were seemingly inconsequential letters to his wife, but were in fact letters which denounced the Communist Party and its censorship. In order to escape the strict censorship of communism and have their works more widely published than what samizdat provided, some Czech authors use a literary style of magical realism. Magical realism can be defined as when the writer confronts reality and tries to entangle it by creating a highly detailed setting and invading it with something too strange to believe. One popular example of a text using magical realism is the Russian novel The Master and Margarita. In this clip, you can see an example of magical realism. It creates what would be a typical realistic setting, but as you can see is about to be invaded by something extremely strange and unusual, as a cat eating at the table as a food.
Я вижу, вы немного удивлены, дорожайший Степан.
Magical realism can be defined by its unrealistic qualities, but it also has many other characteristics. In an article titled "The Magical Realist Fiction of the 1980s in East Central Europe," Christina Sandrew lists the characteristics of magical realism as an irresistible element of magic or something that cannot be explained, the blurring of fact and fiction with an emphasis on historical events, ontological disruptions such as visions or ghosts, and emerging in different realms. There can be three different realms: one that mirrors the extra-textual world, one that differs from the extra-textual world, and one that merges those two. In a novel written under a communist regime, the realms would either have the characters living under the rules of communism, under the freedom of communism, free from communism, or a mixture of the two. The various realms of magical realism allow the author to confront the world in which they live. In communist regimes, authors can use the magical qualities and symbolism of magical realism to indirectly critique their government, and in countries like Czechoslovakia, certainly demonstrates censorship which has been placed on them. Magical realism was not extremely common in Czechoslovakian literature, and was more popular in countries like Romania. However, there are a few Czech books which utilize this style. An example of magical realism in Czech literature during communism is Milan Kundeرا's book, The Book of Laughter and Forgetting, which exhibits many of magical realism's characteristics. In Kundera's book, there are several instances where the loyal communists fly into the air and float there in midair, which is the irresistible element of magic that Sandrew mentioned, since no one can float in midair. Also, another character in the novel, Tamina, experiences ontological disruptions in the form of her visions of her dead husband. Kundera also creates different realms in the book, such as Tamina's island inhabited by children Dissolution by Kuvira and these descriptions of communists floating in midair illustrate how elements of magic realism are used to critique the communist regimes. Under a period of heavily enforced censorship, writers like Kuvira could only use styles such as magical realism to evade censorship and give criticism on life under communism.
In conclusion, we found that religion, music, and literature were all impacted by communism and censorship. Censorship of religion, religious freedoms, and even sermons were censored by the party. In regards to dissonant music, censorship was the driving force in the creation of dissonant music. Dissonant music provided a voice to Czechoslovakian citizens during the times of communism. With literature, every aspect of writing was censored by the government, and those who wrote anything